Hello everyone, you will learn how to sew a grown-on sleeve top from this video. Garment measurements are noted on this chart. Bust, waist, and hip measurements on this chart have been calculated by adding ease allowance to actual body measurements. Actual bust circumference is 90 cm, plus 4 cm ease, giving 94 cm. Waist has been calculated just deducting 6 cm from above bust measurement. So it is 88 cm. Actual hip circumference is 100 cm, plus 8 cm ease, giving 108 cm. The method of taking body measurements is described in another video. I invite you to watch it by clicking the link on description box below. Let's make the pattern first. I mark the length of the blouse along the folded edge, which is 60 centimeters. Then mark the bust level from shoulder neck point, which is 26 centimeters. Mark the waist level from shoulder neck point, which is 38 centimeters. Then the hip level from shoulder neck point, which is 57 centimeters. Draw broken lines across those bust, waist, and hip levels like this. Now, mark half of the neck width, which is 12 centimeters. Mark back neck depth as 4 centimeters. And then, front neck depth as 8 centimeters. Draw the neckline shaped like this. Please note that we do not have center front or center back opening on this garment. Therefore, we need to make sure that the neck circumference to be the same or bigger than head circumference. If it is smaller, we can always increase neck width or depth as needed. Neck circumference in this pattern is 55 centimeters. Now we are going to mark half the width of the blouse at top edge. It is 38 centimeters. And then, half the width of the bottom, which is 43 centimeters. Let's draw the side shape of the blouse like this. This pattern is based on 90 cm bust or UK size 12. But, if your measurement is smaller or bigger than 90 cm, you can move in or move out the side of the blouse accordingly. Now divide bust measurement by 4, and mark 23.5 cm on bust level. Divide hip measurement by 4, and mark 27 cm on hip level. Divide waist measurement by 4, and mark 22 cm on waist level. It measures 26 cm from shoulder to bust level, and it is going to be our armhole, which is quite big. So, I draw a 3 cm line towards the shoulder from bust to decrease armhole. Now it is 23 cm. Draw a line, perpendicular to waist level like this. We are going to shape our side seam between bust and the waist. That means, the waist shaping is done above the waist. It gives a nice shape on the body when worn. Draw side seam shaped like this. This is our shoulder. But there is no shoulder seam on this blouse. Shoulder is created by folding the fabric. Therefore, the only seam allowances needed on this blouse are neckline, sides, and bottom hems. Add half-inch seam allowance on sides and bottom hems, and add quarter-inch seam allowance on neckline. Sorry, I forgot to tell you that I used a folded sheet to make the pattern in the beginning. Let's cut the pattern. I'm going to add a facing to finish the neckline. So let's make it now. Place our pattern on a folded paper like this. First, mark the shoulder line and copy the back neckline. Now cut the front neckline of the pattern. Again, place it like this, and copy front neckline to the facing. Facing depth is to be 5 centimeters. Now draw a line like this and cut. We are going to make this blouse from a soft and draped cloth like viscose or soft satin. Fold the fabric parallel to the selvage. It needs to be a bit wider than our folded pattern once folded. Give a good press on the fold. Now place the folded pattern on folded edge of the fabric like this, and draw. Draw the shoulder line, and turn the pattern to other side and draw like this again. Now, cut the cloth along the markings. Before cutting the facing on the cloth, take a square-shaped piece of fabric, which is a bit larger than the facing. Then fuse it with a very soft interfacing. Now, draw and cut the facing like this. Mark the center, shoulder points, center front, and center back neck points on the facing like this. Now, cut and remove the center part of the facing pattern like this. Again, mark shoulder and neck point on the inner round of the facing. Please note that this line is the cut line of the neckline. I hope you remember that we already have 1/4 inch seam allowance on neckline. Now, take the body cloth and fold it into 4, and press. When it is opened, it will be like this. Now, place center of our facing onto the center of the cloth like this, and pin it. Then match all the neckline marks with pressed lines, and pin those like this. Add more pins so it stays as is when sewing. Now let's sew the blouse. Do single needle stitch on neckline with 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now cut off the excess material like this. Now make notches around the neck seam allowance like this. Do not cut the stitch. Always stop the notch, 1 mm to 2 mm to the stitch. Turn the neck seam allowance and the facing to one side, and edge stitch like this. Finish the loose edge of the facing by overlocking or zigzag stitching. Now, do the hems on sides and bottom of the blouse like this. Hem width is 1/4 inch. I have already cut along the side seam shape of the pattern, and now continuing it to the shoulder like this. Remove the seam allowance at neckline and hem. Put notches like this. Give a good press to the blouse. Now we have to mark the side seam shape on the blouse. Place the paper pattern on the blouse like this. Mark both side seams using a tailor's chalk. Pin both side seams on both layers, so they won't move when sewing. Now stitch on the marked lines like this. Now we only have to tack the facing to the blouse, so it won't show up when worn. Tack at shoulders, center front, and center back. Make sure tacking is not visible to outside. Let's see how this blouse looks like when worn. Thank you very much for watching. Let's meet again with another sewing video like this.